until Japan declares unconditional surrender.
我们打击的是日本的战争承受力，只要日本认识到承受不起战争的代价，就不敢贸然出兵台海。
Now, keep in mind that film was made, granted, on like a version of 98 Movies Maker by the China's Communist Party, and they took it off the Chinese video platform Zigua after it got 2 million views. It's still available. It's still available on YouTube and Twitter.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
How is that not a call to violence?
Yeah.
This is why we're on the verge of World War III if something like this happens. Taiwan can only be defended by a sort of a unified European Union, very unlikely, and probably Japan, maybe Australia, or the United States. They would need a coalition of everyone who haven't been able to even agree to pay their share of NATO, by the way,
right.
Or the United States. Otherwise, they cease to exist. If Taiwan ceases to exist, Japan's next, likely Australia. These are sitting ducks, and that comes to your doorstep. This does become a global affair when you understand that China's goal is to run the world like a Bond villain. So, here's something else. They don't believe, though, Taiwan, that the United States is going to support them. How do you know? They reach to Australia. They look to Japan, right? Yeah. They've been increasingly vocal, by the way, for the first time in the last 6 years. They never used to even mention Taiwan because it was kind of a sore spot with China.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the economics of it, it's not in their best interest. And now they have been saying and speaking out very vocally, saying we need to be ready to support Taiwan in some kind of a military affair. Japan just bought a record 5.4 trillion yen, so $49 billion in a defense budget. And here's the thing: they better get their asses in gear because the Muppets over there in China have been saying that they will nuke Japan if they intervene at all. Here you go.
我们在解放台湾时，如果日本胆敢武力干预，哪怕出动一兵一卒、一机一舰作战力量，我们不是对等还击，而是对日本全面开战，首战用核弹，连续用核弹，直到日本第二次宣布无条件投降。我们打击的是日本的战争承受力，只要日本认识到承受不起战争的代价，就不敢贸然出兵台海。
Now, keep in mind that film was made, granted, on like a version of 98 Movies Maker by the China's Communist Party, and they took it off the Chinese video platform Zigua after it got 2 million views. It's still available. It's still available on YouTube and Twitter.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
How is that not a call to violence?
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if people know this, but Taiwan was technically a part of Japan for about 50 years, right? It wasn't until after World War II that kind of...
Oh, they can get all that stuff in Manchuria.
No. But I mean, these people hate each other. So when you say that Japan is the next step, Japan is the real enemy for China. Like they're the people that they really want to get even with.
Taiwan's a test case.
Yeah.
If you look at how the islands are positioned, they go, okay, Taiwan, boom, 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 hopscotch, Japan, and Japan knows it. That's why the former Japanese Deputy Prime Minister, Taro Aso, he said, if a major incident happened over Taiwan, it is safe to say it would be related to a situation threatening survival of Japan. And that is the case. If it is the case, I put frog in my throat. Japan and the U.S. When I eat a frog, is smiling at me.
Happy gay frog.
Can you do a Japan?
The U.S. and Japan must defend Taiwan together.
Just means happy frogs.
No, they have to, and we have an agreement to do that with Taiwan. But if they attack Japan, it's like, come on, guys, you know how many troops we have there? What are you going to just like surgically strike places that don't involve our troops?
Well,
like,
before we even get to Japan, here's the thing: if China takes Taiwan, guess what? They are now in charge of everything technologically.
Yeah,
they have compute. So China's sort of their manufacturing is, I would say, low grade. Like the truth is, some of their manufacturing is better than stuff manufactured in the United States. But I'm saying it's more like textiles, simple electronics, right? They have some computer chips, but all the semiconductors and a lot of the sort of high-end intellectual property, really like Samsung, a lot of this stuff is done in Taiwan. Yeah. So if China takes over Taiwan before they even get to Japan, right, this puts them in a tremendous position for war because they would effectively run all of the world's IP, all of the world's computer chips, semiconductors, right now because of COVID. I don't think people realize the supply chain disruption. You have brand new trucks that are sitting on lots rusting out because they can't have chips shipped quickly enough.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Ours are insanely high right now.
Oh, absolutely. What do you think happens if China gets control over all of this?
Yeah. It's kind of like the equivalent of OPEC. It's like, oh, you need oil to run your cars? Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. You'll basically bow to what we want. And if they have that, again, like if they have the semiconductors, it's like it's in everything that we use, guys. It's not like just one or two.
Oh, it's unbelievable. So it's something that not only do they go on to Japan, but this is something that affects the United States immediately. And then you're looking at the very least an economic war between the United States and China and tariffs, and we would have to retool all of this stuff here in the United States. The point is, it would upend the way the world does business, and no one at CNN, certainly no one at Disney, wants to talk about it. This is way more of a threat than some folks in the Middle East. I just need to make this clear. And by the way, the foreign minister, Joseph Wu, he knows what I'm talking about.
Other than that, Taiwan is a significant bastion for the production of computer chips. And if Taiwan is under attack, I'm sure the world is going to feel the impact.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me cycle through this really quick. China hates Japan, of course, right? They claimed Okinawa. That's not true. It's not China's. Okinawa is only 411 miles away from Taiwan.
Very close.
Then you have the Senkaku Islands that are only 231 miles from China. So again, they're talking about they would hopscotch Taiwan, take all the IP, take all the manufacturing, and then boom, 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 hopscotch a couple of islands and Okinawa, Japan. It's very easy to make, and they would be fools not to make it. They cannot go after Taiwan and then wait for Japan, because Japan's going to react. So an attack on Taiwan is done with the plan of collecting $200, pass and go, going into Japan. Here's why that also involves the United States. People say, well, we shouldn't get involved anyway. We don't have that option, because after World War II, we kind of did some we dropped some nukes. I'm pro-nuke in Japan if you understand how many more lives would have been lost in a land war. That being said, this was the kind of thing that decimated parts of Japan. Rather than conquering and taking their stuff, we signed a treaty. It's actually, I want to make sure I get the name right, it's the Mutual Security Treaty between the United States and Japan. What that said is that Japan could not build a military for offensive sources or intervene in conflicts internationally. And as a guarantee, we promised them that if ever they were attacked, we would defend them. In other words, if China decides to move on to Japan, which they would if we don't protect Taiwan, we are obligated internationally to intervene. Non-interventionism is not an option unless you just believe that the United States should tear up all of our agreements. I do think that maybe this is a little bit outdated, that we should just say, hey, look, you know what? It's been 70-something years. You guys have been playing ball. Here's some nuclear technology. Have a field day.
I think that makes a lot of sense. We can help you balance out power there. We trust you guys.
Right.
You're good people.
Certainly more than China.
He's a stand-up guy.
So look, with all of this, and let me, again, I want to see you guys comment below, so you let me know if you knew about this, and if you understand how concerning it is. And I know it's nerdy, but it's something that, guys, I cannot tell you how important this is.
Yeah.
There does not need to be more than just, if one domino falls, you're looking at a minimum of hundreds. There can't be a one domino effect here. It doesn't stop with one domino.
Yeah.
And CNN at this exact same time, while we're doing this show, and now apparently they have Princess Zelda, who didn't hit the shift key on air. They were saying, maybe by 2025, because they want to absolve Biden of responsibility. Look, what are the chances? What do I think the chances are? This is entirely conjecture. I think the chances of something happening severe between China and Taiwan under Biden's term, I would put that at about 80 or 90%.
Yeah.
At some point before Biden is out of office, I think that China is going to make a move with Taiwan. And I really, really wish that we didn't have to be involved, but if they make a move on Taiwan, it goes on to Japan, and of course, you probably don't want your economy even more decimated than it was here after COVID. And by the way, well, people are going to start commenting and saying, look, I'm not a John Bolton, okay, that guy who sweeps between the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons.
You're a Michael Bolton.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, I ruined your rant there.
My point here that I'm making is, does anyone really want to argue? Do I need to provide references for anyone to understand? Or if we're going to find common ground, can everyone at least agree that Donald Trump was tougher on China?
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.